Good evening, everyone. Coming up next on Newsbeat 28 at 6, details on the tour of NRC Chairman Lando Zek through the Sharon Harris nuclear plant today.
And if you're over 60, we have some tips for you, that is, on how to win the race for health insurance.
Also coming up in this half hour, we'll tell you how some students in Durham reacted to a prestigious award from the president.
In sports, Jack Gregory will show us some revealing football video from Saturday's state game. It may turn a few refs pink.
And if pink isn't your color, meteorologist Chris Thompson will tell us how long these blue skies will last. That's all coming up on Newsbeat 28 in just a moment.
Just look at the beauty, protection, and value All-Good Siding can add to your home. Maintenance-free beauty that can go over any surface and last for many years to come. And now, All-Good Construction offers 100% aluminum siding for your entire home for as little as $475 per 1,000 linear feet, completely installed. All-Good Construction Company is the largest distributor of VIPCO siding in the South, enabling All-Good to offer you exceptionally low prices on aluminum and other types of maintenance-free siding, as well as a 50-year non-prorated limited warranty on vinyl siding, 100% financing, and up to 5 years to pay. Yes, in less than 2 weeks, your home can look like new. And with All-Good Siding, you'll never need to paint your home again. What's more, you can choose from a vast array of attractive decorator colors that will complement your home's natural decor.
For your free estimate, call toll-free 1-800-228-8000 anytime, day or night.
You know, we're often taught that the greatest gifts are those that money can't buy. That's why I'm proud to carry this card that identifies me as an organ and tissue donor. When you think about it, being an organ donor costs you and me nothing at all, yet it gives someone else a second chance at the life we all want to enjoy. As one North Carolinian to another, I encourage you to become an organ donor and to carry your card. Thank you.
Come home to the new Newlywed Game, weeknights at 7:30.
From the Triangle to the Coastal Plain, Newsbeat 28. With Terry Thill, Val Holley-Dennis, meteorologist Chris Thompson, and on sports, Jack Gregory. Now, Newsbeat 28.
Good evening and welcome to Newsbeat 28. I'm Val Holley-Dennis.
And I'm Terry Thill. As you probably well know, this is a new venture for WPTF-TV, one that's taken a great deal of commitment and concern for this community.
We look forward to getting to know all of you, and we thank you for joining us.
And leading our news tonight, the chairman of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission tours the Sharon Harris nuclear power plant. Lando Zek was accompanied on that tour by some local residents who don't want the NRC to allow the nuke plant to operate. This afternoon, Zek seemed impressed by what he saw.
I thought the plant looked very clean for this stage of the construction. That's a very important observation for me to make because it shows me pride in the plant. It shows me interest in safety.
But members of the Coalition for Alternatives to Sharon Harris, CASH, say the plant is not safe. Patty Murillo worked at the site until she was fired last year.
It just appalls me to see the lack of integrity and a lack of honesty that I saw with the management of this plant.
Murillo also claims that quality control records at the plant have been falsified. Zek declined to comment on those charges, but says the NRC is investigating her claim. CP&L hopes that Sharon Harris will be licensed and operating by early next year.
If you work for the federal government, stop using drugs, and that's a federal order. President Reagan today unveiled an anti-drug plan that orders the heads of all government agencies to establish mandatory drug testing for workers in sensitive positions. Those caught using drugs will be punished by reprimands or suspension. The order could affect thousands of federal workers here in the Triangle, but few seem surprised by it today.
Well, I think a lot of times the president has set federal employees as an example for the rest of the country to go by in not giving federal employees raises and, to help the economy. So I guess we're an example again.
I don't use drugs, and I don't think they should be used on or off. I can see how others might interpret that as being an invasion of privacy, and I couldn't really present what I think would be a good argument against them.
I think drugs probably cause a lot of loss to employers, and I think they have a right to protect their company or agency or whatever.
The president also ordered that all federal workers found to be using drugs be referred for counseling or rehabilitation.
The U.S. military is getting more and more involved in the war on drugs. Both Naval and Coast Guard personnel are currently being used to watch for drugs crossing our borders. But just how much military involvement should there be? This afternoon at our WPTF studios, Senator James Broyhill talked about limited military assistance that is, in the war. Broyhill says the military should be used, but with restrictions.
I think you're going to have to use some of the military resources, but not empower them to make arrests. I don't go for that. But I do feel that some of the communications facilities and also some of the manpower and also the ships and the planes and so forth, that if they observe something that they think is wrong, that they can report that to those who have the authority and the power to make arrests. But I don't want to see the military being given that kind of power.
On the topic of drug testing, Broyhill says he favors it for people in jobs related to health and safety, such as airline pilots, but wants to see how it might work at the upper levels before deciding if it should be made mandatory for all government employees.
Residents of the Millbrook area of North Raleigh may have found a shortcut home tonight. That's because Raleigh Mayor Avery Upchurch cut the ribbon on a half-mile stretch of new pavement connecting the east and west sections of Spring Forest Road. The second stage of the $4 million project has already begun and is expected to be completed by late 1987. That phase will extend Atlantic Avenue north from Millbrook Road to a connection with Litchford Road. The plan is part of the city's overall goal of improving traffic flow north of the city.
One of the biggest fears about getting old is getting sick and then not being able to pay the medical bills. That means the elderly are often easy targets for salesmen who want them to buy insurance coverage that they just don't really need. In tonight's Contact 28 Consumer Report, Phil Pratt found an elderly Raleigh woman who learned her lesson.
75-year-old Faye Orders didn't need another health policy. But when the friendly agent showed up at her door earlier this year, he was able to convince her to pay $971 for a 6-month supplement to her Medicare coverage, and he did not want to wait to get paid.
He wanted the check that day.
Mrs. Orders knew that her husband would be needing nursing home care, so she went ahead and she signed over the check. But then she got suspicious.
If something was wrong, I didn't have any paper to show that, to back up what he had just told me. So I went to the bank and canceled the check the next morning.
Mrs. Orders' case is not all that unusual among elderly people who don't want to be a burden to society or their children.
It's sad that so many people have worked so hard and thought they were established in their old age.
Some seniors have spent more than half their income on health policies that duplicate what they already have. Some even lose their homes paying for overlapping coverage. Luckily for Faye Orders, it was not an expensive lesson, and that's one salesman who won't be bothering her anymore.
The most common mistake the elderly make is buying too much insurance. One good policy to supplement Medicare should be enough. And always ask for a few days to have a family member or a friend inspect the policy. If you start getting a lot of high pressure to buy it right now, chances are you don't need it. In Raleigh, Phil Pratt for Contact 28.
Now, if you have a consumer-related problem, you can write us for help. Just send a letter detailing your problem to Contact 28 WPTF-TV. That's Box 1511 in Raleigh, 27602.